A perfect day for a doubleheader softball game.
Go, Lauren, you got it, you got it, you got it!
And because it was against Chardon High School, less than 6 weeks after that terrible day on February 27th, when accused gunman TJ Lane opened fire at school. Coventry High School girls brought more than their A game. They brought some of the Chardon players to tears, like junior Casley Morris. Coventry girls gave her and all of her Chardon teammates personalized boxes stuffed inside with things like sunflower seeds and softball design hair bows.
There you go, lover.
A tangible way Coventry girls could say,
It hurts and it just doesn't go away, and we have their backs. What are we gonna do? Never quit! Never quit! Never quit! One heartbeat!
One heartbeat has been this community's mantra since 5 students were shot. Danny Parmenter, Demetrius Hewlin, and Russell King Jr. didn't make it.
They're never forgotten. They'll be in our hearts forever.
Personal letters addressed to each girl packed big, powerful sentiment that you could never squeeze into a box.
Extremely sorry about your tragedy. I hope you and everyone else is doing well. Have a nice Easter and spring break.
Cutest Kaz melted our hearts by wearing hers on her sleeve, literally and emotionally.
Extremely thankful.
Extremely thankful.
Yeah.
Coventry's Chelsea Miller certainly did not expect her own reaction when she gave her box away.
Like, it hit me. It's like real. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to us. It's just lucky to have my life and be healthy.
Could have been just another softball game about strategies and winning and losing, but the sentiment these girls ended up sharing with us, so simple. The sun is out, spring is in the air, and life is good. Life is good.
It makes us look at life and appreciate it and thank God that we're here.
1, 2, 3.
Friendships were forged on this field today, phone numbers exchanged, heartfelt bonds beyond the ball diamond. Now, is it going to be hard to go out there and try and kick their butt now?
Yep. But we're still gonna try.
1, 2, 3. Thank you, Coventry!
I'm Dawn Kendrick in Chardon, 19 Action News.
And Dawn, is this connected to that man that's been missing here in Cleveland? Is this his car?
It most absolutely is. We confirm that license plate on that Jeep Compass that you see behind me is, in fact, the license plate number for the car, the missing Jeep Compass for Terrace Wallace, 35-year-old guy who was missing since Wednesday, along with Ryan Miller. Ryan Miller was arrested. When we showed up here, we were first on the scene. We saw him in the back of the car, and this story is turning out exactly like Terrence's family had hoped and prayed that it wouldn't, but these investigators here are now investigating the reports that we have of a body in the back of that Jeep Compass, and I have been talking to this family, and I got to tell you, this is heartbreaking for them. They found a garbage can in the back of Miller's home themselves a couple of days ago that had an awful lot of blood in it. They suspected the worst. We're going to have a lot more coming up, including reaction from Terrence Wallace's family tonight on 19 Action News at 11. I'm Dawn Kendrick reporting live from Cleveland's West Side, 19 Action News. How bad is the hold heroin has on Northeast Ohio? Use of the deadly drug up 300% in just the last 10 years. And those are just numbers. I had no idea until I started talking to people who are living the nightmare, people who are embarrassed and broken, but brave enough to tell their story in this 19 Action News exclusive.
Handsome, smart, fun, a role model, good student in school, a great athlete.
David McKenzie was, in fact, the standout quarterback for the Garfield Heights Bulldogs.
How about the man who threw the touchdown passes tonight, the guy who was playing defensive end until about 3 weeks ago, David McKenzie, coming through with 3 touchdown passes.
That was then, 2007. This is now.
Thank God that I'm here because I'd probably be dead.
McKenzie in prison, hooked on heroin. At just 23, this is his 3rd time behind bars.
It's the epitome of evil. It's the demon. It takes control of your body, your soul, your mind.
He started his downward spiral by snorting prescription painkillers.
Vicodin went to Percocets, Percocets went to Oxycontins, and then Oxycontins went to heroin. It's definitely cheaper. It's way cheaper.
But his body paid a high price, crippled in pain.
You will throw up. You will have the shivers. You can't sleep. Be hunched over in the fetal position in your bed.
He was just hunkered over like he was 90 years old because he was in withdrawal that bad.
Before I realized that it was a problem, I was already in too deep. And it just grabbed a hold of me, and I would spend $100 a day. Easy. I started thinking like a criminal.
Out of his mind.
Put my mom through pain, torture, complete misery, stealing, lying, manipulating.
The problem is far-reaching and woven into the fabric of communities you may never expect.
He's had 17 friends that he grew up with from the Garfield Heights area that are deceased.
I went to a lot of people's funerals. I have tattoos on my arms of people that's died and close friends.
David himself should have died several times, like the time he OD'd at the drug dealer's house.
David was lying in the floor with his shirt off, with a needle in his arm.
They said if I was to die, they would have
rolled his lifeless body into a rug, and they were going to take him to the dump
and stuff me in a garbage can.
I've been a landlord for 25 years. Quite frankly, I've never seen anything like this.
This guy has had 3 tenants die from heroin overdoses in his apartment. 3.
It's a serious problem, and it's killing real people.
Police estimated one body had been lying there for a month and a half.
When we had found him, I thought to myself, if he could see himself laying there in the condition that he's laying there in, he may not have gone down that path.
Exactly what Mackenzie told his mom in a letter from prison.
Never in a million years would I have thought I would be in a place like this when I was in high school.
I had to do what I had to do to step up as a senior and to lead the team to victory.
And if we could only go back, he had a very bright future.
Now he's got an orange jumpsuit, 2 years to think about the consequences of his first heroin hit. David Mackenzie would like to be very clear for anyone thinking about shooting up.
Next thing you know, you'll be sitting here just like I am, possibly dead. There's only a couple options that you could get with heroin: death or jail.
You can log on to 19actionnews.com for links to groups who literally feel your pain, and they're trying to turn the tide on the heinous hold heroin has had on more and more lives. From the Newsplex, I'm Dawn Kendrick, 19 Action News. You know how it is, we come into work nowadays, it's another day, another shooting. So not surprisingly, the statistics for homicides and felonious assault with a gun, well, they're up. And we're asking seriously now, what is going on? Cleveland's East Side, Prince Avenue. Woman walks up to a 32-year-old man in his driveway and shoots him right in the stomach. Broad daylight, just before 1 o'clock this afternoon, as a matter of fact. He's rushed to Metro Hospital. The woman who police say pulled the trigger, arrested an hour later on West 131st Street. Just yesterday, a Cleveland man parks his car in front of his home and gets shot coming in his own front door. It happened on East 133rd Street. 41-year-old Jamal Woods shot in the hip. Police still looking for the 2 suspects who opened fire. Now, March 14th, East 95th near the Cleveland Clinic. Alyssa Hereford Goldie had the misfortune of looking out her window when a gun battle broke out over something stupid like a turf war. These are the guys police believe are responsible for that shootout.
It was really like the OK Corral out here last night, because bullets, you could actually hear them wheezing by you.
This time it cost a woman her life, shot in the leg and killed. The 911 call shows a desperate attempt to save her.
Okay. I need you to find the wound where she's bleeding from. I'm trying to find it.
Attorney Philip Eichhorn fared much better when a bullet whizzed through his window at work.
That's where you can see the bullet hole.
His office is not in some shady alleyway. Nope, right in the middle of downtown Cleveland at East 9th and Bolivar. A shootout in the parking lot in front of Thirsty Parrot and Wilbert's Bar. At 2:30 in the morning, had Eichhorn been in his office,
it would have gone right straight through my head had I been standing here. It's a little chilling.
The latest Cleveland police stats from January 1st to March 3rd record 12 homicides so far this year, up 3 from last year. Assaults with a firearm, 91. in basically the first 2 months of the year, right? And that is up 15 from the year before. And keep in mind, just the last 2 days in Cleveland, well, we added 2 more shootings in as many days. And let's be clear, this is happening east side, west side. It's happening downtown, for cripe's sake. But Cleveland's police chief said last month the streets in Cleveland are relatively safe, pointing out that a lot of these shootings, most of them in fact, are between people who know each other. And that is a good point he makes. But you can imagine it's a little comfort for those people caught in the crossfire. I'm Dawn Kendrick reporting live from downtown Cleveland, 19 Action News. The unmistakable sights and sounds of Cleveland's St. Patrick's Day Parade, the 145th to be exact, more than 200 entries and 10,000 participants. This year, one of the biggest crowds ever, too, an estimated 400,000 drawn to downtown. And some were harder to miss than others.
We're all best friends. We also want to do something crazy on St. Patrick's Day. Make it memorable.
Baby McKaylee Covey is as Irish as they come. Born on St. Patrick's Day last year, as a matter of fact. But with all the leprechauns running around, let's get right to the point. It's okay if you're not Irish, but the Shannon family most definitely is. Grandpa Tom at the helm of 4 generations here today.
It's a big family thing.
Yeah.
Then we'll go home and have some corned beef.
Well, imagine that. Colleen, Maggie, Mary, yeah, you get the point. All got here early, like they always do, to stake out their spot. Grandpa Tom still gets choked up thinking about the bad rap the Irish got back in the day and the real significance of St. Patrick's Day parades.
In Boston, they said no dogs or Irishmen allowed. And they were kind of standing up for their heritage, you know.
Speaking of Irish, our own Denise Dufala most definitely is. Jeff Tanchek, not so much. Tony Zarella, Chris Van Vliet, nada. Are you Irish?
I am today, I guess.
Well, I had a Grandma Riley. Surely that counts for something. Can I get a ride, dude? I'm like just the riffraff reporter. But in the end, Chris Van Vliet kissed me. Because I'm Irish? Who knows? And I scored autographed Tony Zarella and Chris Van Vliet pictures. The best St. Pat's Day parade ever. I'm Dawn Kendrick, 19 Action News. We're talking about adults who thought nothing of making their home into a meth lab, and a baby, not even a year and a half old, pays the ultimate price. You have to ask, really, what in God's name were these people thinking? This is the home little 17-month-old Patrick Lurch was sleeping in on February 26th when the very air he was breathing killed him. Methamphetamine inhalation.
And there's a distinct odor when you're cooking meth.
Baby Patrick's mom, 20-year-old Heather Lurch, her boyfriend, 19-year-old Randy Legg, 22-year-old Ronald Legg, and 24-year-old Alan Ray Kostra, all arrested last month on meth-making charges, still in jail, now charged in baby Patrick's death.
They're cooking, they're using, they're smoking methamphetamines in front of the child, with the child in the house, knowing that there's no ventilation. The fumes are permeating through this house where this child was at.
And if you're thinking, this is a meth story, it doesn't affect me, look at this neighborhood. You think these neighbors here thought for a second that there was a potentially explosive situation brewing right next door?
I'm concerned about the whole neighborhood. You never know what's happening next door.
Bernard Joyce, in his well-manicured home next door, disgusted.
What am I going to do? Go over here and smell their house, see what they're doing? If they'd blown up their house, they'd have caught all these houses on fire. It's scary.
Coming up at 6, the 911 call when baby Patrick stopped breathing, and hard to believe numbers of meth labs busted just recently. And would you believe we have a crew on the way right now as we speak to yet another suspected meth lab, this one in Cleveland. We'll see you at 6 with the very latest. Live from the Newsplex, I'm Dawn Kendrick, 19 Action News.